Hi guys, this is Eric with Painting Business Pro, and in this video we're going to talk about training mistakes that you should not make. Alright, so do not make these mistakes when you're training your new employees. There's a lot of others to this, but these are some of the basic ones. So let's get to it. First, don't be too fast or too quick. Alright, so there's a tendency to be lazy when you're training people. Alright, so 9 times out of 10, people err on the side of being too lazy with training rather than being too thorough. Too thorough is not really going to cause any problems, but being too quick or too fast is going to cause problems. So rather than being too fast, too quick, you need to be thorough. It's ongoing training, and it's really never ending, okay? You should be always developing your team to the next level, and in order to do that, you always need to be developing yourself to the next level. You can't train someone to be better than you are. Well, you can sometimes, but only to some degree. Okay, so if you want to get really, really amazing at training and developing a team, you have to always be working on training and developing yourself to be better as a leader, as a manager, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson. You always need to be developing yourself so that you can always be developing your team. And when you're always developing your team is constantly getting better. They're getting better results. And when they get better results, you can compensate them better, so they're making more money, and they're literally creating more opportunities for themselves into the future. Okay, so training never ends, and the biggest lie people tell themselves is you think that you hire someone and you train them, and then they are supposed to do their job for you. And that's not how it works. All right, so you don't use people, you don't manage people. You provide opportunities to people, and what you get in return for providing opportunities to people is you get to have a bigger business. But just because you built a business doesn't give you the right to hire someone and then tell them what to do, and you can't expect that they're just going to do stuff for you. Okay, people work in self-interest. Your access to building a great team is to take care of people and continuing to train them. Number 2, assuming your new employee knows anything is a mistake. Instead, assume they know nothing. Nothing. Anything that you assume they know is going to backfire in your face. Okay? So just assume they know nothing when you're doing the training process, and that way you'll make sure that you always cover everything you need to. If you assume they know stuff, some people might know it, some people might not. And the people that don't, it's going to cause a problem later. So assume they know nothing when you're training. Next is a mistake people make is training from experience. So you have a lot of experience. You know a lot of stuff about the thing you're training about. And we get excited as people, we get excited when we share about things we've learned a lot about or we know a lot about. We naturally get excited about that. And then all of a sudden you start going on all these tangents and you're talking about this and you're talking about that. A big mistake people make in training is training from experience. So don't train from experience in like your head and just random tangents. Be systematic about your training. Train from your systems. Don't train from your experience. Train from your systems. Systems should be built from experience, but you want to train your team on the systems specifically. And that's going to create a uniform results throughout the company. And that becomes really important when you start having layers of employees. All right? Like I've got my business partners, and then we've got under business partners. We have lead production managers, then production managers, and then subcontractors. And we've got layers of people. And so if everyone is just training their version, by the time we get 5 layers deep, people aren't even following the systems anymore. You need to maintain the integrity of the business by only training using systems. The next thing here is unrealistic expectations. This is a huge mistake people make. You have unrealistic expectations of people. You think that you can hire someone, you can tell them something once, and they're just going to do it, and they're going to do it perfectly. You just have such high expectations of people. Maybe not you, but likely you do. You have really high expectations of people, and they're just not going to meet them. Okay, so instead, don't have any expectations at all. Just take 100% responsibility for your team member's success. And so no matter where they're at, you should be tracking their results. And if their results aren't good enough, then it's your job to train them to be better. But if you have expectations of people being here, then if they fall in here, you're going to be upset, you're going to get angry, you're going to be frustrated with them. You're going to think they're no good, blah, 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 blah. So don't have unrealistic expectations. You're only setting yourself up to fail. And last but not least, this is a huge mistake, is people don't give their employees room to make mistakes. Like, this goes with their unrealistic expectations too. So you have these unrealistic expectations, or you don't give people room for mistakes, and when they screw up, you get upset. And you're angry because you're like, I shouldn't have to be dealing with this right now. This is why I'm paying you. Now I'm doing your job for you, and you should do this. And you think people should be able to read your mind and know exactly what you want. But here's the thing, is every time there's a failure or a breakdown or a problem with a new employee, I like it. And I like it because it's inevitable that it's going to happen. Because you have your whole life, you have a past, and you have all this experience and work experience, and your employee has all this work experience. So based on their past experience and based on your past experience, you both have certain expectations of how things will be done. So in any given situation, your employee has one expectation and you have another expectation. And it's impossible for you to hire somebody where you guys literally just have perfect matching expectations about everything. So they're going to handle a certain situation a certain way based on their past experience, and you're going to expect them to handle it a different way. And then there's this mismatch. All right? And when there's a mismatch, we tend to get upset, frustrated, mad, annoyed, like that. But that's totally ineffective because you're getting mad at them for something that they didn't know. If they would have known, then you could be mad, but they didn't know. And so here's the deal. Anytime there's a problem or a breakdown, right, or there's a mistake that happens with someone, it's a good thing, okay? So I give everybody one free pass for every type of problem that you could run into. So the first time that someone screws up with something, it's totally okay. And I say, hey, here, this is a mistake, this is a breakdown, and this is a problem. It's okay though. I know you didn't know, but now you know. And so here's why this was a problem. Here's how we're going to handle situations like this in the future. Are we on the same page now? Okay, great. So that's the new rule. Now, if you screw this up again, these will be the consequences. And so every single time there's a mistake, we actually have an opportunity to strengthen our working relationship. Because there's no possible way that in the training process, you can cover every hypothetical problem that you're going to run into. And even if you could, expecting people to memorize every single one of those things isn't going to happen. People remember things that are significant. And when there's a problem or a breakdown, that's significant. This is when real learning occurs. This is when real learning takes place. And this is when your relationship actually gets created and built stronger with your team. And that's also why it's so important to me that the people who work with me forever. Because no matter who I hire, we're going to run into mistakes. And the longer they work with me, the more mistakes that are going to happen. And the more mistakes that happen, the better our working relationship becomes. And the more we become on the same page until we literally do get to a point where I have business partners where we don't even need to talk. We know exactly how we both work. All right, so there's some of the main mistakes that people make in training. So just review these, write them down, notice which mistakes you make, and review this video before you actually train employees. And as I've said before, if you want a much more detailed deep dive and you want us to really walk you by the hand in building your team, everything from your job postings, who you should be hiring, how to do your interviews, your employment agreements, your training process, your training schedule, your skill breakdowns, the systems themselves, all of it, check out the link in the description where we have a team building training course, because this is something we're really passionate about because we want to help business owners like you build a better business. And a huge part of that is being a great team builder. So we'll have a couple more videos about this. Feel free to check out the channel if you want more of the free videos on how to build teams, or check out the link below. We'll see you in another video.